It is a sad sight. You are smart enough not to sleep under a bridge, but not smart enough to have your name on the door of a big building. You are 35 years old. Your financial situation is a disaster thanks to a law degree that cost a fortune. You told yourself that debt was an investment, that once you graduated the dollars would pile up and you would finally be the success story. But do not worry, today destiny throws you a lifeline, or so you think. You take a case for medical negligence against a giant agricultural corporation. It is your golden ticket. If you win, you get 40% of the settlement. You will be rich, famous, and finally the successful son your parents deserve. For a moment life looks wonderful, but you have a fatal flaw. You are too eager. You push too hard and reject a settlement offer that was more than you earn in a year. You destroy everything. Not only do you lose the case on a humiliating legal technicality, but the judge publicly questions your competence. The result is a disaster. Your reputation is in ruins. After this mess, no one in the city will hire you, not even to defend a traffic ticket. And just when you think you cannot fall any lower, the phone rings. It is the hospital. They want you to pay for your parents' treatments. Now you look at the bills, you look at your empty bank account, and you realize you are drowning. Just when you are calculating how much your kidneys are worth on the black market, an old colleague appears. 2 years ago, he was as pathetic as you. Today, he wears a suit that costs more than your house and drives a car that screams money. He invites you to dinner and makes you an offer you cannot refuse, or at least one you should not accept if you had common sense. It is a job for an organization operating south of the border. He says they are just businessmen who need help settling labor disputes and mediating conflicts. He tells you that you just have to look the other way and help them navigate the law for a while. Your principals scream at you to reject the offer and run away from this colleague, but then you think about the hospital bills and your child's tuition. Suddenly, all those worries do not matter anymore. You decide to try your luck just this once. You lie to your wife with the most honest face you have. You tell her you are going to work for an important international client, something boring and safe. You say goodbye to your family. With a knot in your stomach, you get into your friend's car and begin your journey to the promised land. After a few days of travel, you arrive at your destination. Your imagination, fueled by too many action movies, expected a ruined house where the alarm clock is the sound of gunfire at dawn, but reality gives you a slap of luxury. The office is spotless with air conditioning and designer furniture. Ironically, it is much better than the dump where you worked legally before. There they explain the house rules. There are only two, and they are quite simple. First, you do not need to prove the client is an innocent saint. You just have to prove that the state is incapable of proving he is guilty. Second, and listen to this one well, never under any circumstances do you refuse a client. Your first job arrives and you prepare for the worst, but it turns out to be disappointingly normal. You do not have to go to court, it is just consulting. They ask you the same questions any boring corporation would ask. How to optimize taxes legally, how to declare assets safely, and many hypothetical questions that start with, let us suppose my company finds itself in this situation. The session goes smoothly like a coffee chat. At the end, they pay you 10 times more than usual for stating legal obviousness. Everything is so civilized and bureaucratic that you start to wonder if maybe you have misjudged the drug cartels. Maybe they are just misunderstood entrepreneurs with a very aggressive business model. A full week has passed, and honestly, it is ridiculously easy. All you do is basic corporate advice and occasionally a little creative editing of testimonies. You know, you instruct the client to say, I do not remember clearly instead of I did not do it. You teach them to say, I heard rumors instead of I know for sure. It is easy money with no apparent risk. You feel like you are about to become a millionaire at 35. Until one day a special client walks in. He does not want tax advice. He wants you to collaborate with him to falsify evidence and delay the trial of a major boss. And this is where your arrogance betrays you. You refuse. Why risk so much? You have already made enough money with safe consultations to pay all your debts. You do not need this headache. So with all the confidence in the world, you reject the job. The man stands up, looks at you with cold eyes, and leaves without saying a word. Congratulations, you just made a fatal mistake. You forgot rule number 2. Never refuse a client. 5 minutes later, your old friend walks into the office. He does not come alone. He brings two gorillas who look like they eat weights for breakfast. Before you can even say hello, a fist lands on your face with the force of a freight train. You do not even have time to process the pain before your ribs become intimately acquainted with the boots and fists of these two giants. They beat you with methodical precision until the lights go out. You wake up gasping when they throw a bucket of ice water on you. You are tied to a chair, bruised and bleeding. Your friend, the same one who brought you here, begins his sermon. He tells you that you are an ingrate, a fool who does not know his place. While his voice echoes in your throbbing head, reality hits you harder than any fist. You chose to walk into hell yourself, and you just discovered there is no exit door. After the beating, your colleague decides to ensure your loyalty in a more permanent way. He confiscates your passport, your phone, and any trace of your individual freedom. Then he pulls out a recent photo of your wife and son playing in the park. With a smile that would freeze hell, he tells you softly, the next time you say no to a client, or if you lose any case in the future, the person who ends up in the hospital will not be you. The message is clear. Your life no longer belongs to you, it is now property of the organization. A week later, when your bruises are barely changing color, a new client arrives. The request is simple in theory but suicidal in practice. You must save a high-level boss from being extradited to the United States. They do not ask you to prove his innocence. That would be ridiculous. The goal is much more specific. You must ensure he serves his sentence here in a national prison where he controls the guards, and not in a maximum security cell in the United States where he would be a nobody. You know this is a legal nightmare. The United States Department of Justice does not usually take no for an answer. It is a losing battle before it starts. But then you remember the photo of your family, you remember rule number 2. So with a churning stomach and hands shaking under the table, you accept the case. You smile and say, leave it in my hands. Although in your head you have no idea how you are going to achieve this miracle. You lock yourself in a room with mountains of files for 3 days. Your diet consists exclusively of cheap caffeine and pure panic. You know that if you fail, you not only lose the case, you lose your family. So you read every line, every footnote, looking for a crack in the prosecution's armor, and you find it. It is not a crack, it is a canyon. The day of the trial arrives. You enter the courtroom not as a defense attorney but as a predator. Your goal is not to prove innocence, that is for fairy tales. Your goal is reasonable doubt. The prosecution presents its star witness, a lieutenant of the cartel, the traitor who supposedly knows everything. They present his testimony as the absolute truth. But when it is your turn, you ask him about drugs, you ask him about his personal blog. With a predatory smile, you reveal to the jury that this man firmly believes the government is controlled by alien lizards and that the world ended in the year 2012. You ask the jury, can we trust the word of a man who believes his microwave talks to him? Then you point out the deal he made with the government. In exchange for his testimony, his 30-year sentence was reduced to 3. You paint him not as a repentant criminal, but as an opportunistic liar who would say anything, even that the moon is made of cheese, to save his own skin. The credibility of the witness collapses immediately with just a few of your arguments. Then the prosecution plays an audio recording. A raspy voice is heard ordering millions of dollars moved to accounts in the Cayman Islands. It sounds incriminating, but you stand up and raise a simple but devastating doubt. Is that really my client's voice? Without a biometric voice analysis, you argue that the recording is unusable. You say that raspy voice could be my client, it could be the prosecutor when he has the flu, or it could be anyone in this room. Without positive technical identification, the tape is just noise, not evidence. Finally, they bring out the heavy weapon, a recording found on a cell phone where supposedly the boss orders the execution of a federal agent. This could be the end, but you have done your homework. You ask to see the chain of custody log. You point out a critical 48-hour gap in the record. From the moment the police confiscated the phone until it reached the lab, no one signed for it. You look at the jury and say, ladies and gentlemen, for 2 whole days this phone was a ghost. Anyone could have taken it, anyone could have uploaded that audio file. A corrupt officer, a rival, anyone. Reasonable doubt floods the room. If the police cannot prove who had the phone, the evidence is tainted. The judge bangs the gavel. Case dismissed for lack of hard evidence. Your client will not be extradited. You did it. You have turned a criminal into a victim of the system. You walk out of court shaking, soaked in cold sweat. Your old colleague waits for you outside, puts his arm around your shoulders and laughs as if you were old friends who just won a soccer match. He hands you a thick envelope containing $50,000 in cash. He takes you to a luxury apartment much better than your real house and gives you a phone. You can call your wife. You hear her voice and you almost break. She asks why you sound strange. You lie. You say work is hard but everything is going well. While you talk, your colleague watches you from the sofa cleaning his nails with a knife. When you hang up, his smile disappears. He leans close to your ear and whispers, "Good job, partner." But remember, if you say a single real word to her or anyone, your family will not only stop receiving calls, they will stop existing. They will disappear so fast you will doubt you ever had them. Enjoy the money. The call with your wife is difficult. You have been together long enough for her to read your silences better than you read the law. She notices the tremor in your voice, that shadow in your eyes that not even distance can hide. She asks you what is really happening. You, being the professional coward you have become, tell her it is nothing, just work stress. She does not believe you and you both know it, but silence is safer than the truth. That night, in the solitude of your golden cage, you check your suit pockets. You find a folded piece of paper. You have no idea how it got there. A reverse pickpocket. You unfold it. The message freezes your blood. Someone claims to be an undercover DEA agent. He writes that his team has been discovered and eliminated. He is alone, surrounded by wolves, and cannot finish the mission without inside help. That means you. The proposal is simple and terrifying. If you want to get out of this hell and return to your family under government protection, you must help him. The signal is ridiculously cliché. If you accept tomorrow, you must wear a red tie. He will contact you. You sit on the edge of the bed, your heart beating like a war drum. Helping the DEA is a guaranteed death sentence if you get caught. It is madness, it is suicide. But then you look at the walls of your luxury apartment, which now feel like the bars of a cell. You think about not watching your son grow up. The fear of dying fights against the fear of living like this forever. In the end, desperation wins. You search your closet. Tomorrow you will wear the red tie. May God have mercy on your soul. The next morning you tie the red tie around your neck. You feel ridiculous. You feel like a neon beacon in the dark, screaming, "Hello, I am conspiring against the cartel, please kill me." You walk through the office trying to act naturally, but your definition of natural looks more like a penguin having a panic attack. Every look from the receptionist, every greeting from the security guard makes you feel like they already know. You wait for someone to approach and tell you the secret password, but nothing happens, absolutely nothing. The day passes with terrifying normality. Night falls, you return to your apartment, take off your tie and reach into your pants pocket. Your heart stops. There it is. Another piece of paper. You freeze. How the hell did it get there? You go over your day mentally. It was when you bumped into that janitor in the hallway. It was when you were squeezed in the elevator with 3 other employees. Or maybe it was when your bodyguard passed you the water bottle. The skill of this spy is so terrifying it borders on the supernatural. You read the note, "Nice tie, now get to work." Thus begins an exchange worthy of a low-budget spy novel. The agreed method is simple but risky. You must leave your written messages on the back of coffee shop receipts and deposit them in the 3rd-floor bathroom trash can hidden inside an empty coffee cup. It is gross, yes, but no one checks the trash except apparently your guardian angel from the DEA. Through these messages, smelling of stale coffee, the plan takes shape. The agent needs something big. He does not want the street dealers, he wants the head of the snake. He wants the payroll list, not the employees, but the other list, the one with the judges, police, and politicians who are in the cartel's pocket. That list is on a secure server in the basement, a digital fortress that only you as lead lawyer and money laundering expert have legitimate access to. The plan is as follows. During the cartel anniversary party next week, when security is distracted by alcohol and women, you will enter the server room. You will copy the files onto an encrypted drive. Then you must take that drive to the executive floor bathroom at midnight. The agent will pick it up, and at that very moment a DEA tactical team will raid the building. In the chaos, you will be arrested and taken safely to the United States. It sounds perfect. It sounds heroic. It sounds like you have a 90% chance of dying and a 10% chance of wetting your pants. But there is no turning back. You write your last message on a greasy napkin. Understood, midnight, do not be late. You throw it in the trash and pray your luck is not the next thing to be discarded. Night falls and it seems full of promises, or at least that is what you tell yourself while waiting at the secret meeting point. From the shadows emerges an immense figure. Your heart stops for a second because you recognize him. It is one of the two gorillas who gave you the beating of your life a few days ago. Your soul almost detaches instantly. You think in silence that you are already dead. It turns out the man who broke a rib is your contact, your ticket out to the witness protection program. The exchange begins. You hand him the hard drive with all the incriminating evidence. The big guy looks you in the eye and promises he will get you out of this hell. But as soon as he finishes the sentence, a black gun appears out of nowhere pointing at his head. It is your co-worker. The plan has gone to hell. Or rather, the plan has gone exactly as you designed it. Let us rewind the tape to the night before. You were in your room staring at that empty suitcase. Fear was eating you alive. The DA offered you freedom, yes, but the cartel offered you something more immediate to keep breathing. Your survival instinct, that cowardly parasite living in your brain, took control. Instead of packing, you went to see your colleague, the warehouse supervisor. You made a deal with the devil. In exchange for the head of the DA mole, you obtained a promotion and they stopped using you as a punching bag. They promised you would be part of the family. We return to the present. The giant reacts with divine speed. With one blow, he knocks the gun away and kicks your colleague away. He grabs your arm, desperate to save you. Do not worry, brother, I will distract them, take the evidence and run, he screams. He does not have a shred of doubt. He believes you both fell into a trap. His only concern is that you get out alive, but you do not run. You break loose from his grip and slowly back away towards the side of the criminals. I am sorry, you murmur. The agent stands paralyzed, the realization hitting him harder than any bullet. In that second of shock, the hitmen take him down, easily drag him into the darkness, and you know exactly what awaits him. There will be no trial, there will be no lawyers, and there will certainly be no happy ending. The supervisor walks over, dusts himself off, and pats you on the back. Welcome to the club, kid. He tells you you won, you are alive, you have your promotion. But as you watch the taillights of the car taking the agent away disappear into the night, you realize the truth. You are something worse than a criminal. You are human garbage with an impeccable survival instinct. Your betrayal worked as the best possible letter of introduction. As a reward for selling out the only decent man who tried to save you, you do not receive cash in a paper bag, but something much more valuable: access. They take you to the main estate to meet the big boss. You expected to meet a monster full of scars and tattoos, but instead you are greeted by a frail-looking old man watering his orchids with the same calm with which he orders mass executions. The boss looks at you, smiles, and tells you that you have a future. He says he likes pragmatic people who know when to sacrifice a pawn to save the king. And you, my friend, have just proven you are a born chess player. Instead of sending you back to the warehouse to load boxes, they decide to use your talent for manipulation in a more sophisticated environment. They send you to the organization's legal team. It turns out your lack of a moral compass is an excellent transferable skill for criminal corporate law. Over the next 5 years, your life changes radically. You trade sweat and dirt for Italian silk suits and air-conditioned offices. You become a wizard of bureaucracy. You make lawsuits disappear. You launder money so effectively that the bills look fresh off the press, and you find loopholes where no one else sees them. To the government, you are a respectable lawyer, but to the cartel, you are the plumber who fixes the financial pipes before they burst. You become indispensable. You are the #1 lawyer, the man who whispers in the ear of power. The boss no longer sees you as an employee, but as an adopted son, someone to trust blindly. You have reached the top of the mountain, and the view is spectacular as long as you ignore the corpses you are standing on. The day everyone feared but you have been waiting for 5 years arrives. The big boss has finally been arrested. The charges are an endless list that would make anyone tremble: international drug trafficking, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. The courtroom is packed to bursting. He sits in the dock confident because he knows you are the best lawyer in town and because he believes you are his most loyal lapdog. You stand up and begin your Oscar-worthy performance. With surgical precision, you dismantle the police arguments. You point out incompetence in the chain of custody of evidence. You make the prosecution witnesses look like liars and confused. Your voice echoes in the room full of feigned indignation at the injustice being committed against your respectable client. You see the judge nod, you see the jury doubt. The boss looks at you and smiles, that arrogant smile of someone who believes he is above the law. He is convinced that tonight he will sleep in his own bed. The judge seems ready to dismiss the case for lack of hard evidence. The atmosphere is one of victory for the defense, but then it happens. The prosecutor stands up with a strange gleam in his eyes. He requests permission to present new evidence that arrived at his office this very morning anonymously. The judge allows it. The prosecutor pulls out a black ledger and a series of high-quality recordings. They are not circumstantial evidence, they are detailed records of every gram sold, every bribe paid, and every elimination order given in the last 5 years. The room goes absolutely silent. The boss's face loses all color. He turns to you with wild eyes, expecting you to object, to scream, to do something to stop this. He knows only one person had access to that safe, but you do not move. You sit calmly, adjusting your tie. You do not say a word. In that instant, his look changes from pleading to pure horror as he realizes the betrayal. He thought you were saving him from jail, and he was right. He is not going to go to jail. With this new evidence, the sentence will no longer be life in prison. The prosecutor has just requested the death penalty, and you, his loyal lawyer, simply watch as the judge's gavel seals his fate forever. While the boss is dragged out of the room screaming curses, your corrupt partner, who was watching from the gallery, pulls out his phone, shaking with rage. He dials the hitman emergency number. His order is simple and brutal. Kill your wife and children immediately. But on the other end of the line, it is not a killer who answers but a federal agent. Your hitmen were neutralized hours ago. Your family is safe drinking hot chocolate in an FBI safe house. Turns out you were never a traitor. From the beginning, that spy knew sooner or later he would be discovered, so he chose to sacrifice himself, betting everything on you. He was the one who convinced you, almost forced you to turn him in and use him as a stepping stone to gain the boss's blind trust. That was the foundation needed to drag everyone into the light, and that choice was the right one. You never betrayed him, although of course you still feel terrible and despicable for allowing someone to die for you. Fortunately, you made it. This victory, seeing the empire fall, is the final gift you dedicate to that brave agent. The raid is massive. Not only does the big boss fall, all the high-level managers are arrested simultaneously. The verdict is relentless. Some will receive the lethal injection along with their leader. Others will rot in prison with multiple life sentences. The cartel has been wiped off the map. And what about you? According to the law, for your years of complicity, money laundering, and tampering with evidence, you should spend the next 150 years staring at a concrete wall. But the judicial system is pragmatic. You have delivered the biggest sharks, so the small fish is allowed to swim free. Your immunity is the price of their heads. You leave the courthouse through a back door. A black van with tinted windows waits for you. An agent hands you a manila envelope. Inside are new passports, new social security numbers, and a new history. You move to a small town 6 states away. You are no longer the star mafia lawyer. You are no longer the defender of the devil. That man died today in that courtroom. You get in the van and hug your family. The engine starts. You drive towards your new life, where you will be an average neighbor, someone no one looks at twice. Now you are a ghost. And being a nobody has never felt so good. That is all for today. There will be similar stories in the future. Subscribe to see them.